Nicole Scott here from Mobile Geeks, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Oppo R7s. It is beautifully built and only $400. So, what's the catch? This Mobile Geeks video is powered by Asus. So here it is, the R7s in all of its glory. This is exactly what you expect from Oppo, an all-metal phone that is incredibly well made. It's got a great finish on it. It also comes in, I think, pink and silver. I've got the gold version right here. Taking a walk around the system, we can start with a 13 megapixel camera here on the back. Up on the top, that's the headphone jack. We have the volume rocker here on the side. Around the bottom, that's where you're going to find the micro USB as well as the speakers. We'll get to the sound quality of those in a minute. On the other side, we have the power button as well as the SIM card slot. So it's actually dual SIM, and you can turn one of those SIMs into a micro SD card slot up to 128 gig. This comes with 32 gigabytes of internal storage as well as a Snapdragon 615 processor and 4 gigabytes of ROM. Now that is something that is actually pretty impressive. You can see it there. We've got 1 gig available. So that, really does come in handy that it comes all the way up to 4. You can use the auto cleaner to clean that up. Let's see how much we've got left there. 1.42. So this is one of the things I think that makes this smartphone so quick. It's the fact that it does have the 4 gigs. It has a Snapdragon 615 processor in it, which a lot of people actually think is more of a budget processor, but in my opinion, I think it's really quite good. It's fast, it's snappy. The only thing that I don't like is when I go to multitasking. See how that kind of took a bit long? All right, let's do that again. Right, I just feel like I could do that faster. One of the other things about this is that this is running Color OS on Android 5.1. Now, some people may complain about no app drawer, and it's just a style. Either you have an app drawer like on standard Android or you don't. My main complaint is if you can, here in themes, there's a lot of customization, so you can choose effects and you can actually, even customize them, and there's widgets. So, it's all great, but the thing is, I forget a lot of the time where my apps are. So one of the things that you can do is you can hit the home button. And then you can kind of look for apps that way. So sound, cloud, and then the app will come up. But the thing that I like about the app drawer is that sometimes I can't remember the name of the app that I'm looking for, right? And so when all of the apps are just displayed, it makes it a lot easier. But this is just something that, of this style of OS, right? No app drawer versus app drawer. That's just the way it goes. All right, so I've talked about a few of the things that are going on with the operating system. So you can draw the camera from there. If we go into the OS, 3 fingers to pull down, takes a screenshot. 2 fingers actually will change the volume, and you can put the phone to silent, right, directly by doing that, which is really nice. So like Color OS actually, in terms of Android variations, I think is really quite solid. There's a lot that I enjoy about it. So what about some of the other features? So we got dual SIM, both 4G, good in the US and in Germany as well. So safety and privacy, there's a lot that you can do in the back end for encrypting. I like that there's quiet time, so you can kind of put quiet time times, and then you can add, an alarm clock or who you want, to come through. That's just nice that comes built in, because it's something that I tend to use quite often. Being here in Taiwan, occasionally you do get people trying to call you quite late at night. So used 5 hours, 73%. Consumption details, we're about an hour screen on time for 25%. But I've been streaming SoundCloud quite aggressively, playing lots of new stuff. Now, taking a look at some of my other battery consumptions, this is a 3070 milliamp hour battery, which is quite good for a 5.5-inch display. Actually, it's pretty standard. But if we take a look at yesterday's usage, right? So I'm a big SoundCloud user. I am. So if you take a look at it, right? So this is when I was sleeping. Steady decline. The standby time probably could be a little bit better. Sorry, this is when I was sleeping here. Right, so I went to bed just after 1 and then I got up about 7. So then I had a quick charge there to only about 70%, and then I was able to go through the entire day. You know, I didn't charge my phone until it looks like 3 a.m., but actually, so I plugged it in at about 1 a.m., right? So there was this kind of a period here between 10 and 1 that I was getting a bit nervous, so I didn't really use my phone that much. So if I had gone home at 10 o'clock like a good girl, I would have had 17% battery left. But since I stayed out till 1, it did kind of decline down. Now, I think that this is actually quite a good layout, I think, for getting me through the day. There hasn't been a day where I've actually run out. I mean, I may have gotten quite low, but I still got home with 9%. So that's quite good. Now, what else can I show you? Okay, so the viewing angles, I think, are quite solid. Overall, I think the smartphone is pretty good in terms of display. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is the bezel. So one of the things that tends to piss me off a little bit is this black line. But this is a 2mm bezel, which they're really claiming is super amazing. But what most smartphone companies do is they put an inner kind of display within it that increases the size of the bezel. So here on the R7s, it is apparent, but it's not overly intrusive. Most smartphones that try to get away with a super thin bezel end up having a much thicker black band. So pretty impressed with that. So let's take a look at the camera. So I've got my 2 Android guys there, and to be honest with you, the red here and the red here are significantly different. He's looking quite washed out here in this photo. So let's just take the snap. Take a look at it. And yeah, the colors are actually quite muted and a little washed out. When I was taking a look at some of the other photos, so here's a selfie with the heavy beauty on. Here's a selfie with no beauty on. So you can see that my skin has pores here. No pores. Oh, and then it did some face thinning as well. You can see that there. And I got rid of my pimple. So that's totally gone. Yeah, so the beautification totally works. Here's some photos from outside. I thought that they'd handled this quite well. So this is just the top of a building in very good lighting. That's a great photo. Here's another one. So here's one from a club at night, 100% acrylic. I don't know who would brag about that. Now this is during sunset, and you can see when you start to get into low light, there's some definite over-processing here. And this is a picnic where it's handling direct sunlight quite well, actually. So there's a few shots there. There's the priv. Here's me eating. It's too hot. Eating a lobster. So here's some cream spinach. The detail on that is not great. Again, it can take a good photo outside. It takes a decent photo here, but when you start to get into the bokeh, the post-processing is just a little aggressive. I'm quite happy with this photo. It looks quite good. This is relatively, in focus, and then that's blurred in the background. But it definitely does lose a lot of detail when you're kind of zooming in. But in general, it's a $400 phone, and this is almost what I expect from something like this. Capable of taking a great photo, but, not in every condition. All right, so here we've got Asphalt 8. And we can also check out the speaker volume, which is quite loud. So would I recommend that you pick up the Oppo R7s? Yes, absolutely. It's really well built. It is gorgeous and designed forward, and there's not really that many compromises that you're making. The display is bright, and it's a very good quality panel. It's AMOLED. It has all-day battery life, a 3070 milliampere battery, and I haven't had any trouble getting through the day. It has quick charge, so even if you are running out and you do have their official charger and cable, you'll be able to get 75% in 30 minutes. So even if you do run low, you're able to top up really fast. But having said that, like you saw in my battery scores, I didn't have any trouble getting through the day. The camera is decent. In great lighting conditions, it takes an amazing shot, and in questionable lighting conditions, it does look a little bit overprocessed, but it's really not that bad. For a $400 smartphone, there are a lot worse on the market. Yeah, I'm looking at you, OnePlus X. Now, in the $400 range, you're always going to have to sacrifice on something, and for this device, it's no NFC. So that is quite a bummer. But other than that, I think that the Color OS is not a bad variation of Android, and for the price point, you're getting a really, really well-built device. So if you have any additional questions about the Oppo R7s, I'm going to continue using this as my daily driver because, well, it's definitely good enough. I'm your host, Nicole Scott, for Mobile Geeks.
What?